Welcome in Cowboys Nation to episode 15 of the Sky Into Eye show. And we have a preseason recap for you guys. We got a whole lot to get into, so we're going to try to cover as much as we can. I'm Scott Walker, still here with my lovely co-host, as always, Aisha Morrison, aka 2I. What's up?
What's up, man?
Not much. We got a lot to get into. I sound French right now, but we got a lot to get into in this preseason recap. A lot of fans are whoa, so we got to kind of provide a level-headed take here. But I get it. Football is back. Some good, some bad. We got to cover it all, too.
Yeah, man, I understand. This is your first time seeing your team in like any type of team form. I understand the excitement. I understand some of the angst, especially with the Cowboys Nation. I feel like they're so aware that, well, we're so aware that it's almost like a gift and a curse because you have so many people who will break it down for you. You know the details. A lot of fans know the details, know the stuff. So when you see so much wrong in a preseason game, it can stress you because you be like, the penalties, the missed tackles. Everything feels really big. Yes, everything feels really big to you because we have some very smart fans. Shout out to y'all, but also too, it's the first time you see your team and there's expectations.
And when you see other teams kind of having some exciting plays and winning preseason openers, a little bit of
starters
playing. A little bit of you says, "Hey man, I'm trying to see what that be like." You know what I mean? That be like, and let's kind of get right into what you hinted at right there. So there was a lot of strange things that happened throughout the game, but I thought some of it started before it. There was some things that made me do the Weebay face, like, oh,
I'm screaming.
So he's not playing.
It was a lot of humans.
It was a lot going on, and Coach Shoddy elected to sit most of the starters. In fact, probably all the starters, and a few of the rookies a rookie who I thought would play more, and that's Tyler Booker. So just kind of your overall thoughts when you saw the list of guys who did not play. Some of these dudes aren't even legitimate, full-time starters throughout their career. Some of these guys I thought we would see, like a Kyer Elam out there, Javonte Williams, but and a Tyler Booker. What was your thought initially when you saw that come down?
Well, first of all, let me get to the list because that's what I'm trying. I'm trying to get to the list of guys so I can pick and choose. But
I kind of understand like the Dax and the Lambs and stuff and Pickens, even though I would like to see some of the starters. I ain't gonna lie, because it's a new offense to but what about some of those auxiliary pieces that did not play?
I mean, it sounds crazy. I was surprised that Hunter Lipke didn't play with how essential he's been and the things that they do offensively. Like any motion that you see, I mean, you might see the wide receivers sometimes. And again, they've shown us very little, but Hunter Lipke is so involved in almost every every passing play and every running play. And so to not see him out there with how important he is, and then obviously Booker being a rookie, man, being a young guy that, we expect and also too, we would like to see get more time because again, even in the practices, as I was saying before, there were times he got stumped. I was hoping to see him. I don't know. I mean, guess you mentioned Elam with the secondary. This is what I'm gonna say about them. They really can't risk it. They cannot risk it for no biscuit. No biscuit. No biscuit. I think that's what they feel like. Let me speak like that. I think that's what they probably feel like is they can't risk none of them going down.
But if you're afraid to play Elam, then you can't play nobody that's above him. If you're afraid to play, not you, but if the coaching staff is worried about to playing Elam, and no offense to Elam, he's having a fantastic offseason and things like that. But you get what I'm saying. This isn't Dak. This isn't Lamb. This isn't Pickens. This isn't Jake Ferguson. This is Kyer Elam, where if your room is healthy, he's likely, your third, fourth corner. I don't know about fourth corner, but it's likely your third type guy. And look, he's new to this scheme. He's new to this team. So that still shocked me.
Yeah, I mean, a guy like Sanborn, who obviously you brought in, but if he's going to be your mic, if he's going to be your mic, it is important like that he gets this time. I think they wanted to see kind of how Murray and some of those guys handle things, but I don't even think
Murray didn't even suit up. It was,
he didn't suit up either.
We'll get to the defensive notes. I don't want to jump around as I just
Jump
said
around.
something. But speaking of Sanborn, I will tell you what surprised me. It wasn't Leofow that had the green dot. It was Clark. So that was interesting. But we'll get to that when we talk about the defense. But you're right. It was just a lot of players that I expected to go out there and play at least a couple series that did not. And
you say another one?
Who else?
Sam Williams.
Sam Williams.
Coming off an ACL.
Now that, I wonder if that's the injury thing. Maybe they're trying to just slow roll him.
Maybe they're trying to temper him. And that would make sense. But I also like a lot of preseason also too for those guys that aren't starters is conditioning.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I think that showed up in the game. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But I mean, some of the guys, it just didn't make sense to me. Would you want to see Cooper Beebe? Sorry.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, he's young. I mean, I get their starters, but so here's the thing. Coach said this in the presser, and this is what made me feel like he might play some of these guys next week. He said they had a plan.
I think he will.
He said we this wasn't just, I keep saying we like we're in French again. God damn. He keeps saying, we had a plan here. This wasn't just some random thing. And I'm like, okay, coach, I have to take you at face value right now. We'll see next week. If it comes out and half of these guys are playing, then whatever that plan was, I guess he wanted to see some of these other guys in the first preseason game, then okay, I'll understand. But if we come out next week and this list is the same, I would just have to hit you with one of these. I don't know what we're doing here.
No, I follow you, twin. And I think that's the plan. And even so, like, from some of the players' interviews and stuff, some of them have mentioned preseason, like the starters. Some of them have mentioned playing in preseason. So I do think you're kind of on the right track of what the plan is. Maybe there were some specific guys that they just wanted to see, like you said, and it may not make sense to us, but if it makes sense to them, fine, whatever. But
that wasn't the end of some of the strange things happening. So to start this game, as we get on the field, first play, pass. Second play, pass. Third play, pass.
Chunking that thing.
The very next possession, pass, pass, pass. I'm like, okay, what's happening here? They come out and they throw the ball 6 straight times. And again, let's kind of backtrack again real quick and preface this thing. Coach came out and said we're going to be vanilla. Okay. And going into preseason, me personally, I'm not looking for schematics and game plans and wins, losses. I'm actually trying to evaluate the players individually because I understand likely 80, 90% of these dudes won't even play on game day. And if not more, are not starters. However, there are some things that if you don't operate in a certain way, well, how the heck are we going to find out about certain players? And to come out and throw the ball 6 straight times, in my head, I said, well, is this their way to try to loosen up Joe Milton? And I had to fight my own self and say, well, if that's the case, you probably should come out and run the ball a little bit because he's not a pure drop back quarterback, Tuai. So when you saw that, them come out with 6 straight passes, Tuai and chat, what was your thoughts?
Well, I was rattled.
Yeah.
Rattled. I was rattled. I was a little upset. I was like, what's going on here? Like, but I also too, when you go back and watch the game and you see how open guys are.
Oh, that's the other side. That's the other side.
Plays, it's like, would we be mad if indeed those plays were successful? If he was reading the field well and stuff? Like I don't. Maybe they saw something that they thought that they could attack early in the passing game. Obviously, even in the practices, they found more success passing the ball than running. So maybe they decided to.
Funny because it was opposite in this game.
It was the opposite in this game. So maybe they wanted to work that, like you were saying, or whatever. But I was stumped too, dude. I was like, dog, like if you want to get these guys comfortable, and you saw that when they started doing a little like play action things or giving him like the run option and stuff like that, that he started to settle in. But I was thrown off too, twin, and I was like, what's happening, guys?
But you're right though, because look, 6 straight passes, whether they're completed or not, is still a very strange way to approach it when you're preaching physicality. We need to work on the run, et cetera, et cetera. But let's get to that point. Joe Milton, right? As we start to evaluate some of these players, and we're going to get to our offensive notes right now. Joe Milton, he came into this game, and if you watched my show last week, I used a basketball analogy to I said, look, we know Joe Milton can make the fun plays. He can make the slam dunk plays. You know what I'm saying? He can do the 360 and all that stuff. But Joe Milton needs to go out there and hit the layups because those
Yep.
dunks and those 360 no looks, that's only a handful of times throughout a game. And you were at camp and a lot of other people were down there and we would always see the highlight play. But what wasn't being as focused on was, yeah, but there's some inconsistencies with accuracy. Yeah, but he was holding on the ball too long here. Yeah, but so there was still developmental quarterback things. So me going into this game, I was very keen on, hey, I don't need to see the big play. I need to see him hit the layup. I need big fundamental. Okay. I don't need AI trying to, I need big fundamental, 2-hand chest pass, right? Just a simple layup. And he struggled with that too. The accuracy was erratic. It's funny because he didn't look like he was jittery, right? He just was extremely inaccurate and was making poor decisions early in that game. It was a disappointing start to the game for Joe Milton.
No, I agree, man. And that's something I touched base with him on, in at camp was when you have arm talent like that, how do you keep yourself disciplined to your mechanics? And, a lot of those balls were floating on him as mechanics. That's what that's probably, something going on in his drops or in how his feet are set and stuff like that. There's a couple times you'll see him, not have a steady platform when he's throwing the ball or he's toesy and he's drifting and stuff like that. So that's when the mechanics come in. And then you talk about the processing as well is, is he seeing his reads right? Is he going through his reads? Because there were times that he had outlets in the flat with Mafa, even sometimes with Malik
Tight end.
Davis into the tight ends, and and he's looking for and you see this, Sky, and I will say this. I think you see this sometimes. I feel like we saw this with Dak at times early in his career. Is like if there's a third down, sometimes guys want to take the big play and not just take moving the chains, just being consistent and moving the chain. Why are you laughing?
Well, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of Dak haters or whatever you want to call them, detractors that will say, "Oh, that's the opposite of Dak early in his career." He was ultra conservative early in his career. I think
Yeah.
that's documented.
Well, yeah, well, I think there were times where, well, my opinion of him is that there were times that he was undisciplined and not just taking what the defense gave him and trying to make the big play or trying to make, the difference there. So I felt like that happened sometimes with Joe Milton. I don't think it's any mistake. I think we knew this is that there were
Can
things he needed to.
Can we give an example for that?
Yeah.
To the
Yeah.
interception,
Yeah.
to Flournoy. That was one of those situations where, dude, you don't have to make the big giant play. You had the dump off underneath. I don't know what running back it was, and to get a couple yards or keep the rock. And he just wasn't making great decisions, and he wasn't very accurate with it. And it's interesting because what you're talking about to me is arm arrogance and knowing how to check it. And you talked about dumping it off. There was a play to Jalen Tolbert early in the game. He's covered. There was just no reason to try to fire that in there. I think it was Schoonmaker was open underneath in the flat. That's the processing part. That's seeing it part. And that's kind of just getting out your own head. And he did talk about how he had to calm down, and get going. And he gives credit to the team for, keeping him going there. And then once he settled down, we saw a pretty damn good drive later in that game where that's the Joe Milton, the high of Joe Milton, as opposed to the lows that we had seen in previous.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like on the interception, there were some issues with. I mean, I know we're gonna get into like the tight ends, but I do think that Fairweather had a better day than Neville, especially in the
Looked good.
blocking department and stuff like that. So I don't know. I think his clock is something he's working on. When you talk about Milton, the internal clock, like knowing when, because there was a couple times they had pressure and he didn't feel it at all. Like he didn't feel it at all. Like these guys are getting sacks, and I BS you not. Like they're like right here, and he's not even feeling. You don't even see him feel those guys on his
Yeah, I'm
heels.
surprised he didn't fumble on the one sack. Sadiq Charles just got, I don't know what that was, and could have been a sack fumble, but he held on to it. But you're right.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think I guess I'm not like surprised by this because that's why I went up to him asking about his mechanics. That's why I asked him about this stuff because this is stuff that you see on film or you've seen before, when the Cowboys brought him in, that when I watched, I was like, still needs to work on his patience, still needs to work on his touch, still needs to not rely on his ability to be able to scramble and be able to, like I had this in my notes.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that this is something that he's gonna have to grow from. Now, what I will say, some of this stuff is habits, and those are a lot harder to break.
Yeah,
So
you
he has to
need
be adamant about breaking
yes.
some of these bad habits.
Yeah,
Yes. Sorry, go
repetition,
ahead.
repetition, repetition. Right? I think it's what's the saying? It takes 21 days to break a habit. You have to do something 21
Mhm.
straight times, or not do something 21 straight times. Yeah, it'll take. And he did start to settle in, and he started to connect with Trayshawn Holden, and he started taking the layups, and
Yeah.
he's a fastball pitcher. He is, Randy Johnson on steroids, and it's fastball. So you're absolutely right. Working on a touch, and when he started to, find the touch, he was making some great play down the sideline to Trayshawn Holden, great touchdown pass
Mhm.
to Rivaldo, 2-point conversion to Cropper. It's just finding that I guess rhythm to calm his ass down, because early he was just firing this thing, and it was just like, man, what's going on in your head here, for Joe Milton? Can we talk about the protection? Because
Yeah.
you brought up, there was a few times, but in general, Cowboys Nation, I thought this all, going back and watching the film, I thought this offensive line, I mean, can I give a round of applause? I
Yeah.
mean, there was, even in moments where he was missing, there were pockets of protection for him all day to sit there, or make a decision, or to scramble. I was very, very impressed with this protection. And I'll point out the guy that really stood out for me, and one of the guys that was on my watch list there, Nate Thomas.
Yeah.
I thought Big Nate, he here's what I had in my notes. I'll just read it off here.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
said I liked how he played in this game. He was really confident, and number 6 couldn't do anything with him. He was aggressive in his kick stance. He's just played with some tenacity, and he looked a little seasoned from time to time. Now, granted, you're not playing against starters. I do
Mhm.
wonder if he looked at that tape against Jared Verse and try to correct himself, because you could kind of see him trying to stay upright, not get over, not get top heavy, not get too strong with his hands. And I really just thought he had a really good game. He was documented for one pressure. And one play that stands out to me wasn't even a pass game, it was in a run game. I believe it was the long run, or long-ish run, that Deuce had. It was I believe,
Mhm.
a sort of a delay, so they had to sell the pass. So he gets in his kick stance, or he gets in his stance, kick step real quick. But number 6, or whoever it was, tries to veer inside on him, and he counters really
Mhm.
well, turns him, and Deuce Vaughn's able to get outside for a gain. I just thought, for a guy that may have to play for you early, this was a good first step for Nate Thomas.
Yeah, man. It's so exciting. I'm so glad that you mentioned Nick Hampton, number 6, for the Rams, because that was the matchup he had in practice that did gave him some trouble sometimes. Like, again, his hands still can get outside sometimes and stuff like that. But you can tell that he picked up some of the things that he was doing wrong, like you were talking about, especially like extending in practice. I think he only played what, 10 snaps. He didn't play that many snaps, but I mean that's kind of what I've been seeing from him anyway. It's like he doesn't really ever look panicked. He's just kind of slow, steady. I'm here. I might mess up sometimes. Oh well. Like that's the vibe I get from him. He's just like he's never too high, he's never too low. He just has that temperament to play the position. And you need it because you're not going to win every rep as a left tackle, but the responsibility is great. And sometimes guys can get anxiety with the responsibility of being a left tackle. And you see that in their development and their body language. But for him, like, for if he keeps playing like this, it's like, oh, this is dope. This is a guy that you can have around for a while if you need. You know what I'm saying? Like,
And let me say this. I'm actually impressed at his tackle snaps, because I kind of looked at him as a guard. I thought he could be,
mm,
a fantastic guard for you, even if it's just a depth guy, not necessarily a starter. But hell, who knows? Because he looked like it. It's just preseason week 1, but he looked like a guy that took what happened in that joint practice, said, "Let me learn from this," and he came out and had a really good start to his preseason. Anybody else you saw there? I know you mentioned TJ Bass. I think on Twitter he was outstanding in his snaps, and I thought Austin Richards also looked pretty. The O line, man, it just looked pretty good, man.
oh yeah, I think first of all, I think it's worth mentioning that there is some consistency there with Hoffman and TJ Bass. They've been playing
Hoffman,
together for a
another
little
one.
while
Yeah.
now. Yeah, and I think that you got to see that in some of their combo blocks and stuff like that, is them working off each other and just understanding each other. Well, I thought some of, like, when you look at some of Mafa's big runs, they're behind TJ Bass, and sometimes I think I can describe it the best I can, is that they're using, who is a team that does that? Is it Philly? Philly that always has that trap with their tight ends. You know what
Philly,
I'm talking
yeah,
about?
yeah. Philly does that. They usually do it out of a like a RPO type look with Jalen Hurts, and there's like a 3-way go. You can have hand it off, Hurts can pull it and throw it, or Hurts can pull it and run. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, the play that I saw is that they're having them to where that defensive end most of the time is gonna think that he needs to be dealing with the guard that's right there, and it ends up being Awesome or whoever slipping into, like, moving up, climbing to the second level, and Awesome is cracking them, basically, like cracking them before they even, like, realize, like, they think their assignment's one thing, but it ends up being Awesome, and he's cracking.
You're talking about
They
one of the trap plays that they run.
Yes, it
Yeah,
looks like
I know
Philly does
exactly.
something like that with their tight ends, and it kills you. It hurt Dallas. It doesn't look exactly the same, but it
Yeah.
is similar. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
I
saying?
think I know what play you're talking about, because when I saw Awesome do it, I was like, "Oh, this is awkward to see," because we really didn't do a whole lot of trapping last year in this manner. So I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so they're using him. They were using Sadiq Charles in that way as well, to where they're using that jumbo package as like a, it helps in the run, but it also helps in the pass as well. And I thought that he did that well. And then obviously Awesome's he's always mirrored well. I've been worried about his feet. It's them feet that's been scaring me, them feet. But I thought that his feet looked cleaner. I thought that he looked like he was in unison for the majority of the game. Yeah, I think that he helped himself today. I think he helped himself. But then you have Nate come out and then have a good 10 steps too. I mean, I
Man, you're
guess
gonna
it's a good thing to be going
you're gonna
on.
need both of them. Like, I feel like you're gonna need
That's what I'm
Nate
gonna
and
say. I guess
Awesome.
it's a good thing to be going on.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we're
And
looking for depth on the O line, and the veterans are not. The veterans have gotten hurt, right? I believe
mhm,
the Cincinnati guy, Akeem Adeniji, he's out, right?
mhm.
And we all know about Robert Jones. So if we're going to be leaning on these young bucks, you want to see positive steps, especially Austin Richards. I mean, this is year 3 we're talking about. We're not talking about a rookie year anymore. So you want to see those positive steps, and for Nate Thomas as well.
I feel like there was another gentleman on the offensive line that stood out to me. Also too, I think it's worth mentioning that they had TJ Bass at center at one point in time. We haven't really got to see him work center. I know that was something he could do,
I've
but we
seen
haven't
it
really get.
throughout his career, but this year maybe
Mhm.
not.
Yeah, we haven't really seen it that much. So I was surprised that they even tried that and wanted to work that a little bit. How did you feel about Leo Collins?
Weird, because he looks light in the butt, and he's still falling all over the damn place. But hey, he hasn't played in a while. He hasn't played in a while. So Lael talked about how he's going to protect MJ's daddy from all the pass rushers and whatnot. Lael, you might not even make this damn team, sir. But I appreciate you, letting her know that.
I'm tired of you. Well, yeah, all in all though, I thought that the offensive line, um, there were a lot of clean pockets. I thought that there were some exchanges that were a little wonky. Obviously, you had the few alignment flags,
Lots of flags.
lots of penalties.
Too many damn
which
penalties.
which I wasn't surprised by, because I mentioned this at practice. I was like, "Yo, they clearly see that offenses, these officials clearly see that offenses are really manipulating the game with these offensive linemen and these shifts and stuff, and they trying to get a handle on that. It feels like, which sucks, but feels like that's going to be something we're going to be dealing with throughout the season. But no, I don't know. I thought the offensive line worked well um when they needed to, especially in the run game, dog. Like I
I was
felt
just
like they,
about to say the
especially in
run
the run game.
game. There's no going into week 2 saying, "Oh man, we got to figure out how to get the run game going." I thought it looked good, and again, this was a vanilla offense, so we didn't see a whole lot of the window dressing, a whole lot of the cool little plays. It was just flat out hat on hat. Let's get downhill. Let's turn these guys and let's make some plays. And they ran for 148 yards, but I think each back had their moments in this game between Malik Davis, Deuce
Yeah.
Vaughn, Phil Maffa. I thought all those guys brought something there. Now, Deuce didn't play a whole lot 2 carries, 11 yards. Phil Maffa, it might look like, 3.6 yards per carry, not a whole lot from that standpoint or whatever it was, but he ran hard. He was from, as Voch would say, the FFU, Fall Forward University. That kid is a truck, and when he's coming at you, it's like a train coming at you. And he was running some dudes over. And we talked about this too. We're dating all the way back to OTAs. There was 2 players. I'm like, I don't care about what people are saying at OTAs because they're pad players. Javonte Williams, Phil Maffa. You're not going to know anything about them from a Cowboy standpoint until they put the pads on. And I thought he looked good, but Malik Davis looked the best of the bunch. He looked like he got something to prove out there. He looked good.
Yeah, he got the he just be taking off. He got that sense of urgency in how he runs. I mean, he hits the hole with certainty and he puts his foot in the ground. I think we've seen him be able to do some things. Very shifty. And there were times that I liked how he adjusted in in the middle of some of his runs. Like there were times where I think lanes closed and he was able to navigate that. I thought that
jumping over his own guys.
Yeah, I thought that his vision showed as a veteran, obviously, but Maffa to me is the big story. Because Maffa to me is like Malik Davis looked fine, but Maffa is the one to me that's gonna make things weird. He looked good.
Malik Davis averaged like 9 yards a carry.
I seen it.
Malik Davis was technically Malik Davis looked the best. But
I agree.
But Phil Maffa was fun to watch because he was just rolling dudes over. But and he's, let's be real. If we're gonna, and that's a question for later. I'll save it. I got. We have a new segment, by the way. I forgot to bring it up. New segment, by the way. So stick around for that. But I'll save it. Go ahead.
But no, I think Phil Maffa's interesting for what he did in pass pro, even so, and obviously he did some receiving things as well. Um, like you mentioned, is the way that he runs the ball, the way that he's able to dip his shoulder and to fall forward and continue. He drags guys. It was a couple times dudes was touching him after he and so I think and that's been his calling card and stuff. The other guy that does that also was brought in for his pass pro is Javonte Williams.
And didn't play. That's what kind of shocked me is that he didn't go out there and play. I think everybody in this running back room, if you're healthy, needs to be competing. Point blank, period.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. So I don't know. I do think the coaches mentioned Phil Maffa. He mentioned Phil Maffa last week and was like, hey, yeah, I'm starting to notice him more. And they couldn't fully tackle. So I noticed him a little bit in practice and I was like, okay, I see what they're talking about. But then also too, I really noticed him in pass pro. That was the biggest thing. It's like I was like, oh, he has some awareness and pass protection that some guys just don't have right away. So I was like, okay, that stood out to me. But putting them pads on, he'd be ready to rumble. He'd be ready to rumble.
It's funny with Phil because you see what makes him different from the room. Now, obviously, Javonte's not out there because he kind of would mirror him a little bit, right? In the sense that these guys are bigger dudes. But you also see the youthfulness in Phil Maffa, and I don't mean this as a slight, but we've had some power backs in the past recently where you see that, okay, there's been some wear and tear. There's not that same wiggle. There's not that same spryness to it behind the power. You're getting power with Phil Maffa, but you also see, oh, okay, there's a little bit of that short area burst. And if he gets any runway or open field, yeah, he might not have to run a 4.2, 4.3, 4.4, but we've seen guys that are big still truck their way down the field for big plays and touchdowns. So it's going to become a point in time this preseason where he's going to get a nice runway. He's going to bowl somebody over and he's going to go off about 30, 40 yards. And we're going to be like, okay, this guy, and I think really this whole room, it needs to be legitimately open to make this team. I'll say this about Blue. I think Blue has a role already. I've said that before. Everyone else, I think it really needs to be an open competition starting with Saturday.
Yeah. So ideally, what is your 1, 2? Not obviously you're gonna be. It might be 1, 2, 3 because
Yeah, for me, I would carry 3. Man, this is right now. If I had to guess based on what was going on, Javonte Williams and Jaden Blue, I think are 1, 2. I hate to say it, but when you get hurt, that hurts, Sanders. Like I wouldn't carry 2 of the veterans. I'd carry 1 of the veterans and 2 of the young guys.
Yep.
It's hard to not say the 2 rookies and Javonte Williams right now. And let me explain why. with Javonte and Phil Maffa on the same team, you have a guy, if something happens to Javonte Williams, you don't lose an aspect of your offense, right? Mm-hmm. You still have that power aspect, bigger body, helping pass pro, goal line back with the Phil Maffa. But you also, with Blue, you keep that kind of jitteriness, that explosiveness, that change of pace type back there. So I think Javonte Williams, Blue, and Phil will be fun 1, 2, 3. Right now, I don't think that third one is locked up yet. I still think it's up for grabs.
That's fair.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. I mean, also too, we got to factor in the run game aspect that you're going to get from CD sometimes, the run game aspect you're going to get from Turpin. Yeah. What do they think is more valuable or that they need more of? Is that the explosiveness, or is that a guy that can thump when you need to, wear some people down? So, yeah, it's to me, I do think that Maffa has brought himself into the conversation more, and sometimes guys need pads.
Let me do this. Let's do our new segment on
Why
the
you
offensive
rapping
side.
so hard?
Because I'm gonna get a little. I don't want to call it messy, but our new segment, y'all. If you ever heard the term "read and react," right? We hear that in football all the time. Ours is going to be called "read and overreact," and the reason why I want to jump with this segment is because this is how it's going to go down. The read and overreact segment is something. If you've heard or seen something from the game, whether it's good or bad, that you believe is an overreaction from the fan base or from someone or national media, or something that you may have seen that in the spirit of the segment, you're going to overreact to just to have some fun. Okay. And as we're talking about running backs, I say, I know what mine is. I'll let you think about yours. I know what mine is too. My read and overreact is this. Malik Davis. Maybe I'm forming it as a question. Did he do enough yesterday? I keep saying yesterday. Did he do enough Saturday to legitimately put his name in the running back room, put his name in that hat for the running back room? Or is it, he's just a body, preseason, had a good game, what have you? I'm going to use my overreaction lever here and say, hey, Malik Davis's game. Put his name in the ring because this room ain't solidified yet. Throw him in there. That's my overreaction. Thoughts?
It's a valid overreaction. Yeah. I think. I mean, this is a new staff. Does that matter?
I don't.
There was some different things with different staffs.
Sure. I mean, for running backs, you either got it or you don't. You know what I'm saying? Like he looked.
He got a lot of juice in his legs. He ain't running down that ball that much in his career.
He looked like he had a little something on Saturday, and that made me say, oh, without Jaden Blue out there, without Miles Sanders out there, he looked like that guy that can give you some wiggle. And he was making guys miss at the line of scrimmage. He was making me say, why didn't he get more of a shot last year? You know what I mean? And again, that's the part of the overreaction aspect of it. No, I'm not saying this is our starter. No, I'm not saying he's your RB2. But because he signed on Friday, had a fantastic game. He was making himself present in the pass game too, but Milton just wasn't hitting him. And obviously ran really well. Hey, maybe Malik's like, look, what am I supposed to be afraid of in this room?
Yeah, I mean, I get his energy. I mean, he just got signed. They got him suiting up that day. Well, another thing too is like he is restricted to the playbook, but the baby probably don't even know the playbook yet. So he got to go out there and play free. He got to go out there and just be like, hey, y'all want me to tote the rock? You open up the hole, I got it. So I think there was also like a freeness to his play because he is just now boots on ground. So yeah, it's a conversation. I think there's several conversations to be had about this running back room, and I think it needs to continuously, like you said, be a competition because I want the baddest heifers on the floor.
Period. Now, Aisha Morrison, read and overreact.
You about to start. I can feel it.
No, I want to know I mean, again, it don't have to be from you, but something you may have seen.
I got my little roster sheet. Go on, say it.
We're gonna get Aisha in some mess one of these times. Good mess, not the bad mess. Just good football mess.
Please. Okay. Go. Oh my little thing.
Also, Cowboys Nation, y'all play along too. Read and overreact to something.
He being messy, y'all.
Good mess. Have fun, mess. Proceed.
What's mine?
That's what I'm asking you.
Oh, you asking me? Yeah. Oh, it's my turn.
Asking you, girl.
Bro, I thought. Oh, okay.
No. 2I. Read and overreact.
I got one. I got one. Read and overreact or.
That's just the name of the segment. Just give me something you might have seen that was overreaction, or if you want to overreact, because in the spirit of the segment.
Now people gonna think I'm being ditzy. All right.
No. It was a little confusing. My bad.
The way that the Cowboys intend to stop the run is not really effective. Wait, no, I didn't mean to say it like that. Why you gotta do the Law and Order sign? I was just saying.
You know what's crazy? I don't even think that's an overreaction.
Barnacles.
I don't even know. So
Let's
talk about it.
Yeah, I get it. And I asked Osa about this at practice. I was like, it looks like y'all are trying to attack stopping the run from angles.
Mm-hmm.
Like y'all are trying to be faster than the other guys to the punch, and that's what you're kind of relying on because you don't got no big hungry person in the middle for real. And he was like, yeah, so that looks like what they're doing, where they're slanting their fronts and they're trying to, some guys are taking on double teams, but baby, they are relying on them safeties.
Yes.
And them linebackers.
Yes.
Like they life depend on it. And that, although I think when you get a McCrazy like overshown back with Maris, then we'll talk about him and stuff like that, it could work. But it is, if it don't work, if one of these guys don't have the skill or the, know their reach to recover, it's bad. And there were a couple times where some of those big runs by Corm and stuff, that's what was happening, is guys just didn't fill their gap the right way. Obviously, like you said, the Rams just running their stuff. They don't care if you can't stop it. They are who they are. So for these guys that are on the back end, I understand why all that manipulation and stuff could be a lot for them. But the linebackers at times look like they had just gotten off a roller coaster.
I said this in my notes, man. The misdirection still tripping them up. You see maybe one person being hesitant. I feel like 18 Damone Clark, he looked like it was last year.
And
Clark,
it's so like I ain't even gonna hold you, bro. Like it was disappointing.
It was very, very shocking because he was having a really, really good camp. And look, it's weird because you did see some plays. Again, some of my notes here. I thought Maris Leofau played fantastically aggressive. And I'm not trying to throw water on or wet blanket or anything like this. But here's the thing with Maris. It's the same thing it's been since last year.
It's always been. He gonna overrun something.
He OD. Like Maris, he's OD. And it's like, I love that because he plays with his hair on fire. But then it's like, okay, you got to slow down sometime, my boy. Like your instincts is what you're going to need in this scheme for sure. And hold on real quick. It played well for him. You saw that. He came up. He was blowing dudes up on blitzes. He was blowing dudes up, filling the lane. But if you go back and you watch that touchdown run, a couple plays before that, Maris Leofau made a great disciplined play, right? He scraped. He kind of stayed on the edge and made Stetson Bennett cut back inside, boom, tackle for loss. But a couple plays later, might have been the next play, they run Blake Corum right up the middle. Your defensive line occupies the defenders. Maris Leofau, I just need you to just shoot your gap and you get a stop. Well, Maris Leofau was thinking, okay, Stetson Bennett might run, so he jumps. He already had help out there. There was no need because it was 14, Marquise Bell, and he just jumps out of his gap to try to defend the edge, and Corum has unimpeded to the end zone for a touchdown. And it wasn't just Leofau. Shamar James has some really good moments in this game where it's like, oh, this dude is springy, right? Like he plays downhill, he plays aggressive, but then you see him say, okay, he's jumping into the wrong gap, or he's taking on this block with a little bit more finesse than maybe earlier in the game. But these are young players; these guys have to develop. But you're right. This scheme is dependent on you to be there because there's no Vince Wilfork. This isn't that type of two-gappy type of scheme. They are asking these dudes to slant or shoot the gaps. And sometimes I've seen some of these defensive tackles get a little wild with it, where they just go and head down and not really disengaging. So a lot to clean up, I think, in that front seven, even though there was some good plays, but a lot to clean up too.
And well, in regard to Maris, because that's why I was like, so I didn't forget. But fantastic breakdown by you, by the way.
Oh,
But
thank
also, yeah, you're welcome, twin. But also with Maris, I that control that you're talking about, I do think is gonna come because he is reading. There's only a few times like where you really see him like guessing, and you was guessing right there.
you.
For the most part, he's seeing it. He just be there too early, or he be like it's or he thinks he has the ability to recover in some of these places, and it's like dog. Like we saw, did we see something similar with Dan Quinn schematically?
Uh, just
This feels
kind
similar
of,
in the
yeah. He
sense of
wanted you
like
to shoot the
what.
gap and get upfield. I think Dan Quinn was a lot more maniacal in his fronts. Like he was more multiple, so it was more difficult
Well,
on
we
on teams. I think when he early in his career, I didn't think teams realized, oh, I'll just come out in 12, 13. You're small.
Yeah, and so that's what I worry about with the Cowboys is that people are going to just be like, we don't care, and and come at and go at you, and the stress that it puts on your linebackers and your safeties. Not saying they're not capable, but that I don't like that.
This is a
Like I,
linebacker scheme. This is a three tech and linebacker scheme in the front seven.
that's all it is.
That's what Flus wants to lean on. That's why when you go look at his time in Dallas earlier as a linebacker and coach, and then in Indianapolis, go look at his backers and the production they had, and go look at DeForest Buckner and how great he played. And if you don't have a dog next to Osa, down in down out, can make things difficult. Where you have to play extremely disciplined, and I don't think it's going to catch on right away with backups. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Most of those guys are backups. Now, I will say this: Perrion Winfrey, popped in this game. You know what I'm saying? He showed
Yeah.
he showed some ability. He was a little OD from time to time, but he showed some ability to take on the doubles and knife through and make some
Yes.
plays. Joe Toia, early in the game, you saw him. Oh, he's excited. He's hyped to be out there. But then as it started wearing down a little bit, big fella was huffing and puffing and blowing houses down and getting high and pushed off a little bit. He was doing a hop like a bunny. I seen him get hopped a little
I
bit.
seen it. I
Yeah, I
seen it. I
seen it.
seen it. I seen it.
And it kind of exposed a little bit of the depth per se, the lack thereof on the interior as the game went on. But it was definitely not an eye opening because we understood the running defense. They didn't do anything drastic to address it, but also we're talking about second, third team dudes. You know what I mean? Playing in the scheme for the first time with bullets flying.
Yeah, no, I agree. I thought that with Perrion Winfrey, there were times like you were mentioning earlier that there were times where guys would just kind of put their head down and get upfield. I think Perrion has some of those times where he's just penetrating, and you like, hey, peek around, brother. Like, just kind of look around, brother, see where you at. See where the ball is at. So he
Yeah,
has
they
some
weren't
times like
finding
that.
the ball. It was weird
No, yeah,
sometimes.
there was times like that, and then also too, James Houston, who we saw pop off the line quite a few times and stuff like that. I felt like the defensive line was close. Like there was quite a few times Izaraku, James Houston, Perrion Winfrey were close to getting sacks. They probably just need a little bit longer.
Ball got
Tommy
out.
Aking Basote had some nice plays. I
I saw
felt
some
like
good reps.
penetrating in the run and being able to disengage, and also too just getting upfield pass rush. I know we haven't mentioned him a whole bunch. I mentioned him from practice, but he's someone to keep an eye out on with his size and being able to get upfield. Do you want to talk about Mozzie at all?
Sure, I mean, because we're probably going to need them unless they cut them, and yeah, it didn't look terrible, but it didn't look great either. It just was like, Mozzie's out there. Now there was some reps where he's taking a double team and trying to let other players make the play, but there was times where Mozzie's getting turned or he's just looked like he was just in a fight with the guard with no regard for the rest of the play.
Mhm.
So it just was another kind of Mozzie Smith is here, but nothing encouraging to me. Say there's that next step. We're good in the defensive tackle room. It's the same Mozzie to me.
That was the weird stuff to me is like how not engaged he is to the play, but to his assignment,
To the
which is
fight.
fine. Yeah, to the fight, like to the rally, to the ball, to to the funneling, to the whatever. Like it was really weird to see someone just like not even when like they're into the play, right? Like there's no looking for the ball. There's no. It was just odd. So that's all I had to say. Yeah, I don't think the interior defensive line depth made me feel any better. Any better. I think Perion Winfrey is a guy that you still can be looking to develop and stuff. And he might, like you saying, he might have a big role at this point. I don't know what's gonna
I
happen,
don't know
but
how he
it's
doesn't.
feeling like he is gonna be someone that they gotta carry. They gotta carry, and they might need to go get another human too. But
Well,
but they
the,
might have to carry this human.
death, taxes, and the Cowboys needing another defensive tackle.
Bruh, I'm so tired of it. And I'm not saying what they want to do can't work, especially with the idea of possibly you getting Overshown back, and
Yeah,
then the
yeah.
depth that you have at
And,
safety, then the depth you have at safety,
and let me
even though
say
Elijah
this. Let
Clark
me
got
say
hurt.
this. Not having Jack Sanborn there, I think was you saw it because I said this when Marist Liufau was drafted. I think he was probably going to be your future Mike because I thought it was going to be Marist Liufau and DeMar Van
Me too.
Overshown of the future, right?
Me
So
too.
I'm thinking those are your guys of the future. Then they get rid of Zimmer. They bring in Flus. Flus brings in his guy Jack Sanborn. I go study Jack Sanborn. I'm like, that's a middle linebacker, ladies and gentlemen. Like that's a seasoned linebacker. He's a heady player. He's an instinctual player. He controls the defense. He's a veteran. That's your middle linebacker, I think, this year. And then who's the guy next to him? I think that should be Maris Liufau. Murray hasn't played. Maybe it'll be Murray because he's a veteran, but I feel like Maris has done enough to really take that spot to date. So I'm looking at how they're playing, and I'm seeing they put the green dot on Clark, and I'm like, you can tell that's not it, bro. That's just not for
Guy.
you. I think he was in his head. I think it just kind of reverted back. So I would have loved to see, well, put it on Maris and let's see him kind of control the pace a little bit more in the defense. So I think if they had Sanborn, I think these linebackers would have been a little bit more steady and consistent.
Probably.
Those third and fourth string backers, I wasn't super encouraged, watching. It was some Buddy Johnson reps. I'm like, yeah, he's not going to make the team, Shamar James, I just think there's a lot there to develop in the athleticism, the downhill ability. There's stuff there, but I think Sanborn, Liufau, Murray will bring a steadiness to the room that we might not be having this conversation. And you could say the same thing maybe if we're having Osa and Solomon Thomas out there too. Honestly,
I agree. Yeah, I mean, again, temper yourself because it is not likely that you see full on backups for your team at any point in time. There
yeah.
would be some level of balance between young guys, veteran guys, all that stuff. Can I do another we doing another question? We doing another
You got a question for me? Let's go.
uh Is Zion Childress really competing for that nickel
Let's
spot?
go.
Because I told you
I
going
wasn't
into this
getting out of here
game,
before we talked about. I
because
wasn't getting.
I was really going into this game like.
Hey, so did you see the quote? Let me find this quote.
I loved it.
Yo, you did see that quote.
He looked
Let me
dope.
paraphrase. I'm mad I don't have it. I wish. Let me see. This is bad podding right here. But
I
give
think I got
me a
it. Hold
second.
on. I think I got it.
Oh, I
I
love
think
the
I can pull
quote.
it up.
I'll paraphrase it as you're looking for it. But he was told by one of the coaches or front office or somebody, hey man, we really think you can come in here and be in the mix. And Zion said, "Oh, you told that to the wrong mother because I'm gonna go in there and try to take it." And he's been playing that way, man. And I really loved him in the run game. I thought he was very physical there. I thought he was more twitchy. Somebody, I think it was Broadus that said this, and I'm like, man, it's he's so right. This scheme, there was some of these corners, which Booth, some of these other guys. If you're going to be a vision-based defense, you have to be able to break on the ball. You have to be. They're going to try to get the ball out. You're playing softer coverage. You got to have the ability to click and go, right? And I think he showed a lot of that. And so I'm sorry, I just got excited about him because I really liked his game. And man, look, why not?
No, seriously, no, why not? Like, I don't believe that even from the energy that I've seen from Duran, he wants to on his interviews, he wants to play on the boundary, y'all. He just does. Like he just does. And that's not our business. Like if that's what he wants to do, that's what he want to do. This nickel spot, dog, because they literally just like every other really good offense in the NFL now, Sean McVay was manipulating the slot
Oh
and
my
was killing
goodness.
Keemon Hall. at the start of this game.
And we
Going at
Keemon
him.
Hall fans. That wasn't a good game for Keemon Hall.
Oh no, I'm a Keemon Hall dude, girl, but like at the same time, this is you want what is better, and in order to deal with all that trash like you're talking about, Sky, um, I'm surprised because when you look at when you sorry when you look at him, Zion Childress in person, he's not a big guy. Like he's not a really big guy. He
He
kind of
play
has that.
big though.
He has that smaller frame feel, kind of like Jordan. Because when you see him, because he's always with Elijah Clark, like they're always like next to each other and stuff. When you see him, you like, dang, Clark is
Now
look
I'd
like
imagine you
he's really.
talking about like stocky wise or weight
Yeah,
wise.
no,
He's a
I'm
little
not talking
thinner
about.
on the
Yeah,
sides.
he's
Yeah.
thinner. He's thinner and stuff like that. But like you said, he actually cleaned up a lot of stuff.
You know who else I
The
like?
run game.
Or at least a couple plays that Elijah Clark filled that damn alley, man.
Dog.
He
The fact when he got hurt yesterday, I got sad inside.
he run that alley, and it's we get a
He
couple
got hurt yesterday,
UDFAs that make this team. Those are two to keep your eye on right there.
these guys are fighting, like fighting. I hated seeing Clark go down. Obviously, I think Marquise Bell had the concussion. It looked like he had like a stinger at first. So that's something to keep an eye out on as well. And out of the receivers, I mean, Flournoy would have had 100 yards yesterday.
Yeah, if old boy hit him, not only just 100 yards, but he broke open in the end zone too. Again, requires touch on that one.
Mm-hmm.
At the very least, and to go back there, at the very least, man, just throw the thing up and give him a chance. I remember early we talking about Dak early in the career. One of Dak's issues earlier in his career on the deep ball, and the reason why I think he's a much better deep ball thrower, Dak was overthrowing it. Dak was just putting everything into it, and he was overthrowing it. I think maybe around Kitno or maybe a little bit before that, people kept always underthrown. No, what he's doing is he's giving this guy a chance. If you look at a lot of deep balls, every here and there, it's a 60-yard in stride. That's very rare. A lot of deep ball accuracy is either putting it high and tight to the sideline or giving your guy a chance. And he actually talked about that where it was like, hey, I just want to give my guy a shot. And that's why you see a lot of these acrobatic catches with, the CD Lambs or at the time Gallup and Mark Cooper. I think he has to learn that. It wouldn't shock me if Dak gets in his ear and says, hey, look, man, we know you can throw this thing 89 yards down the field, but give a guy a shot. Flournoy in the back of the corner, just throw it up, man. Let him fight for it.
Some of those routes that Flournoy was running, like
the one over was route. Oh my gosh,
that deep crosser where he was wide open. It's just like, and when you watch the game, you see how much like Flournoy has really developed like some snap in his route running. It's sharp and it seems a lot cleaner. And I really wanted him to get
year two.
Oh yeah, I really wanted to see him get rewarded a little bit more. And this will bring me to my last question. We heard the head coach mention Trayshawn Holden.
Come on, baby.
Mention him. We heard him mention Trayshawn. I think what's happening with Trayshawn is, again, the culmination of what he's been doing consistently in practices with different quarterbacks, and then also coming out and showing what he can do a little bit in preseason. Coach says that he's going to be moving up the depth chart and jumping who?
At first, I thought he was a lock for 6 because of Brooks. He's dealing with Brooks and Flournoy. But Brooks was on, or at least in the scrimmage, Brooks was on the first team special teams as a gunner or the punt return or punt coverage. And then I said, okay, I want to go into this game. It's not really Trayshawn Holden's receiving skills that I'm looking for. I want to see where he at on special teams. I want to see if he can stand out special teams. And he was, I believe, the L1 on special teams to start this game off. So I think they're trying to find a way to get him on this roster and allow him to do things on game day. Because if you're wide receiver, 4, 5, 6, you got to play on special teams. So
special teams, yeah.
If he's jumping somebody, is it going to be the special teams guy? Or is this a situation where you think that he can jump all the way into game day, game planning things, which would mean like wide receiver 3 type stuff? I don't know if I'm ready to go there, but I can tell you this now.
No, not at all.
There is immense upside for that maybe in the future, but I don't know if I was go as far and say, wide receiver 3, but I definitely think he's above Brooks to me. To me.
That's how I took it. Is he above? Because here's the thing: it's like Flournoy has had good practices too. He's had consistent
Yeah.
good practices. And if I'm a coach and I'm looking at this film and I'm seeing how wide open he is, I think Holden obviously had some good catches and he's been consistent. But I wanted to know your thoughts on the coach, like, because I'm like, who is he jumping? Is it Brooks or Flournoy? And if I'm Flournoy, I'm like, damn.
Or
What do you want
Brooks.
me to
I
do?
mean, Brooks had some good plays in that game.
Right. It's like, what do you want me to
We're
do?
celebrating, Trayshawn, Holden, and the other guys, but Brooks he made some good plays. It's interesting because it's a legitimate competition, and that's a good thing. But I'll tell you this: of that grouping, I think you can live with saying, okay, we'll see if we can get Brooks on the practice squad. We'll see if we can get Floyd on the practice squad. I just think there's a different
It is.
demeanor. There's
It is.
there's a different play speed, play physicality. There's an a little bit to Trayshawn, and maybe it's the mental aspect. Maybe it's he's hungry. He didn't get that guaranteed. There is something different about him where he can, if say you keep a Pickens, I think he can develop into your wide receiver 3 at some point. Maybe that's not this year because once we remove like the fandom aspect of it, there then becomes the playbook. There becomes the relationship with the quarterback. When I say relationship, I mean, hey, I need to trust you. The trust, right? The trust with the staff.
Yeah.
That's different when you're talking about game day 3 as opposed to game day 5, 6. You know what I'm saying? That's just reality of the situation when you're trying to win games to save people's jobs and whatnot. So I think he's a lock to make the roster. And I'm okay with that if that means we have to risk Flournoy or Brooks. I'm fine with that. And that's no knock on those gentlemen. It's just I think Holden has a higher upside.
I agree. I think I'm gonna keep an eye on that 45 too, because he got a little bit more wiggle than I thought he had.
Rivaldo?
Fairweather.
Fairweather?
Yeah.
Yeah, he can get
Well,
up
keep
too.
an eye on him.
He can get up
And then
too.
some of those blocks, man, he's undersized. He's only about 250 pounds, 6'3". But some of those blocks on the interior too, he was turning guys too. And I was like, oh, like this isn't something I saw consistently in your college tape. I felt like he wasn't as physical at the point of attack and stuff like that. But I thought in some of the blocking that he was asked to do specifically on the interior, and sometimes when they would bounce to the outside if they needed him to, I think that his blocking has upside as far as him growing into like a more sound blocker. And if he can do some receiving things and be a steady blocker, then he's somebody I'm just gonna keep my eye on as well. So all right.
Yeah, I think the tight end, I feel like they're going to grow with their big 3, right?
Yeah, of course.
Revis Ford, Schoon, and Jake Ferguson. But that's a big tight end room too. 6'5", 6'6", and 6'8", or whatever.
And then 6'3", little Ronaldo.
But no, I would love if we can get him on a practice squad and develop him in because
is he more intriguing than Fant?
As a tight end, yes. Fant to me is more H-back.
And Fant has been around for a while, so I don't know how they feel about him.
I mean, you can carry both if you want on practice squad.
That's fair. Because
you could say Fant is my Lipke replacement, and Rivaldo will be my receiving replacement if somebody gets down. You know what I mean? Yeah. Good.
Okay, Brody.
Yeah, good eye though on Rivaldo. We had a great snag in the red zone. I thought he made himself present and found the soft spots later in that game for Milton. And yeah, he looked good. He technically looked better than Schoonmaker blocking too. But man,
you said it. You said it.
I'm just hey, read it overreact. Oh, one more reading overreact. Cut Jalen Tolbert. I'm just feeding into the best. I'm feeding this.
Shout out to our homie Joe Hoyt and his dope article he had about. I think he did a projection for his 53-man roster, and he did leave in his notes Joe Hoyt of Dallas Morning News. Rather,
what did he leave?
He said, should the Cowboys consider trading Jalen Tolbert if they need a defensive tackle or a cornerback? Because given what he did last year, Sky, he's not someone that does not have value. Now I'm just reading what it was on.
That's what a lot of fans want to do too. Now I shut this thing down when people was talking about trading him for a pick. I mean, if I'm getting a 3rd, 4th round pick, yeah, we can talk about it. But I don't think you're getting anything more than like a 6th or 7th round pick, and he's just worth more than that to me. So if you're talking about trading for a dude at defensive tackle, oh man, that's not even a question.
Is it? Yeah, because everyone needs or two, something we talked about last year. I hate to say it. Oh, I'm about to throw up. I hate to say it, but you do have, to me, some TJ Bass. TJ Bass has some decent game film. Somebody needs an offensive lineman, maybe. Like, is it do any of these offensive linemen that you have some of these young guys and a Hoffman and then maybe not an Awesome, but a Hoffman and TJ Bass who have had starting time and stuff. Do any one of those have any value? We'll see. I don't know, but that's a conversation that's being had right now because cornerback is less scary.
I don't know if I do it for a corner because I can get a corner off the market right now. It's probably better than a corner you're going to trade for. That come play for you. His name is Gilly.
But you know what's crazy though? I don't know. I don't know about Gilly. I don't know.
What does that mean?
I'm saying that there's uncertainty about his capability.
His abilities?
Right now. There's uncertainty on like the speed and stuff like that.
Oh, well, that was aware when he got to Dallas 2 years ago. He wasn't a fast guy. But if you go look at his film in Minnesota, Gilly was good.
Is he somebody that you think can do what you just said? Is
read and react?
Read and break with the speed that you need him to do.
That ain't about speed. See, that ain't about speed.
It's about being able to read.
That's about IQ. That's different. There's been plenty of cornerbacks that you wouldn't consider the fastest of the worlds that just know how and understands the game, and they can click and go. Yeah. And Gilly can do that, if that's what we're talking about. But if we're talking about running with receivers across the field, running with deep, that's Gilly's issue right now. But back to what I was saying. I don't know that I'll do it for a corner, but if you can tell me I can get a dude that I'm not talking about just another dude, another guy. I'm sorry. I'm not talking about another Mozzie, another Perion Winfrey, another Jay Toia. I think Tober is worth more than that. But if you tell me I can get a bona fide starter for Jalen Tober at defensive tackle, listen, this is not even a question. I'm picking the phone up. But if I'm getting just another Perion Winfrey, I think he's more valuable than that in the room, even if it's wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5. I don't even think that's a question. He's more valuable than defensive tackle 4. That doesn't even make any sense. But yeah, if somebody is willing to give me one of their starting DTs, up and coming dudes that can go in here and make a difference for you, yeah, I will entertain that all day tomorrow. I'm not entertaining the 6th or 7th round pick. I'm not entertaining another Jay Toia.
It gotta be.
When I say Jay Toia, I mean a young guy that's not proven.
Yeah. No, you want somebody proven, somebody sound, somebody that knows the position.
I want a difference maker.
Yeah, I understand. No, I totally get it. And then, like I said, shout out to Joe Hoyt of Dallas Morning News. He's the one that brought it up, and it's now becoming a conversation. And I do think the further that you get into, these next preseason games, and you might see some of these starters, it might give you a little bit more of an idea. But
let me give
these guys want to. They want to get.
Let me give the fans a little bit of credit. They brought that up before the game too. So shout out to Cowboys Nation. They were bringing up, trying to trade him and whatnot before too. So it's just becoming a conversation after the game because we saw, Trayshawn Holden and Flournoy. You know who didn't mention, which I'm a little shocked? Jonathan Mingo. Quiet game. Now, obviously, a couple penalties and whatnot, but on him. But quiet game as well.
Yeah, I know. Stop, Sky, bro. Like, stop.
No, I wasn't saying it as in like, oh, he's had a bad game. I'm just saying it was a quiet game. I still believe in the Fab Five, the Faction Five. Like, I think that's who it's going to be. But it just was a quiet game. We'll see what happens next.
Cornerback room not good enough for me.
No, they need to get these guys out.
I liked what I saw from his room, McCormick in some spaces, but
nice interception by Izzy. That interception, yeah.
But the rest of it. The whole thing. Like the secondary is
boy, who's number 30? Boy, he was getting baptized.
Rochelle
was getting he was getting roasted.
Him had hard time.
Look, I get you need bodies. But at this damn point, why?
I be feeling bad. Like, it's so bad sometimes. I feel bad for him. Like, when he's frustrated, I be like,
bad.
I feel bad. I'm like, dog, like, help him.
Boy, ain't no feeling bad in football.
Helping him, like, I already know that.
Get his
but
ass.
I still have times where I'm just like, I get secondhand embarrassment. That's what it is.
Okay, yeah. I'm embarrassed too for his ass. We keep getting whooped out there.
Embarrassment. I'm mixed stressed. And Kalen Carson being injured right now, holy moly, dog, the opportunity he's missing out on to like make a name for himself in this defense and show his value is
IR him, man.
That's good night.
IR him. You're right though. The depth at the cornerback room is not great, but that's why I'm picking up that phone, to try to get one of the veterans on the market. I would have loved to have Mike Hilton, but yeah, who am I?
I think Asante Samuel is an option as well.
Maybe some injury issues with him.
Yeah,
I think something with the neck or something like that. But hey, that's right up the Cowboys' alley.
I cannot believe they waited this long.
Doesn't surprise you.
It does. I don't know why I'm not surprised. Let me go take a nap. All right,
Cowboys Nation. This has been episode 15, a jam-packed episode recapping the Cowboys Rams preseason game. We got week 2 of preseason. I want to say Baltimore Ravens, if I get that. Yeah, Baltimore Ravens this week. We got also practice, still training camp. Still time for some of these guys to bounce back, but this is what preseason is about. When we're evaluating these players, this isn't to just say this is the end all be all with some of them, maybe unless it's like a Andrew Booth. But this is about these guys learning and responding and bouncing back, or building and stacking if they had a good game. So we'll keep you guys covered and locked in on if they indeed do that next week. All right, for 2i, I'm Skywalker Still. This has been the Sky and 2i Show. Peace.